This is news on Good News Catholic Communications. I am Betty Ann Lazarus. Coming up in this edition, Bishop of the Diocese pleads for support for COVID-19 restrictions and warns Grenadians that their decision over the next few days will determine whether they live or die. St. Martin's Home for the Aged outfitted with dementia care unit. Over $20,000 earmarked for No to Single Plastic Use project over on the Sister Isle. And in sports, Cricket Australia and the West Indies Cricket Board agreed to postpone the 2020 series scheduled for October. Details when we return.
There's a reason we have been here to serve you for the past 40 years. A reason we have continued to grow. A reason we have continued to celebrate. That reason is you. We have been here to help you plan for your future and here to help you celebrate your achievements. We continue to be here, even when the future seems unclear, because one thing is certain: you're the reason we care.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back. Bishop of the Diocese Clyde Martin Harvey has again issued another appeal to Grenadians to desist from engaging in carnival-like and social activities under the pretense that there is no COVID virus in Grenada. The bishop's appeal comes just ahead of the previously scheduled Carnival Monday and Tuesday and Carnival weekend. Carnival was previously cancelled and the holidays revoked as a means of curbing the spread of the virus. Videos posted on social media over the Emancipation weekend reveal several clusters of community jab-jab. Bishop Harvey reminded the entire nation about the dangers of the virus.
The coronavirus with which we are contending is one of the most treacherous things we have had to face. Those who reported that Grenada is COVID-free spoke out of ignorance. We now know that no country is COVID-free. The virus, like Adam, is hiding within the healthiest looking of us, hiding in many of us who are not feeling sick at all. Indeed, if we felt sick and then recovered, it is quite likely that we carried the virus and may even still be carrying it.
Bishop Harvey also called on citizens to act sensibly and refrain from interpreting the restrictions as a plot to control or restrict freedom. The Bishop of the Diocese warns that asymptomatic carriers can innocently infect loved ones.
We cannot let our guard down at this stage. We have come this far by faith in our God and necessary action, disciplined action. Let us not falter now as we open our borders again. The government has a responsibility to exclude or quarantine anyone who may pose a threat to us. We all have a personal responsibility to protect ourselves and to follow the guidelines laid down for the protection of others, especially of those we love.
Reverend Harvey made a passionate plea to young persons who seem to act as if they are immune to infection.
It was foolishly said that young people are strong against this virus. This has been proven to be not true. The United States now has the most infections in the world. Many people there ignored physical distancing in their love for the beach and house parties. We can jam together today and die alone next week. All the virus seeks is human flesh to infect and destroy. Any young person can infect a vulnerable relative, old or young, someone whom they love, and set them up for for a horribly lonely death.
Meanwhile, the Royal Grenada Police Force earlier this week reminded the general public that all carnival activities for 2020 have been cancelled. The RGPF, in a media release issued this week, appealed to persons to adhere to the rules and regulations that are in place to safeguard against the spread of COVID-19, in particular the wearing of masks, physical distancing, and practicing effective personal hygiene. It continues, we are also appealing to the general public to cooperate with the police and refrain from playing jab-jab and engaging in carnival-like activities, all of which are illegal at this time. The statement further warns that while the RGPF has chosen the path of dialogue and forbearance, they are prepared to enforce the laws if needs be. Persons who are engaging themselves in carnival-like celebrations are urged to cease and desist from doing so. Persons are also reminded that Monday 10th and Tuesday 11th August 2020 are normal working days. Air Canada is set to resume services to Grenada from August 10th. Canada is included in the medium-risk countries due to active but manageable transmission. However, visitors traveling from these destinations are still required to agree to and observe mandatory protocols prior to booking and on arrival to the island. Air Canada's weekly scheduled flight will operate on Mondays, utilizing the carrier's main line as opposed to the route that was used in the past. The flight will depart Toronto Pearson International Airport at 9 a.m. and arrive at Maurice Bishop International Airport at 2:05 p.m. The return flight leaves Grenada at 3 p.m. and arrives in Toronto at 8:25 p.m. St. Martin's Home for the Aged, one of 3 homes for the elderly established by the Catholic Church, opened its dementia care unit on Saturday, making it the first home in Grenada to embark on the extension of services to include care for the mental well-being of its residents. Details on this historic moment in this Derek Adonis dispatch.
The historic occasion was graced by His Lordship Bishop Clyde Martin Harvey and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, among other specially invited guests and well-wishers. Mrs. Catherine Mitchell, mother of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, and Miss Gloria Hastick, a resident of the St. Martin's Home for the Aged, jointly cut the ribbon, signaling the official opening of the dementia unit. Mrs. Gloria Phillips Smith, a British-trained medical professional, is at the helm of the operations at the St. Martin's Home for the Aged, having taken over the task in May 2019. She explains how dementia is taking a mental toll on the citizens, even affecting young persons.
Dementia is a huge condition with about 101 different types of dementia, Alzheimer's being the most prevalent because it can affect you at any age. In many cases, years ago we used to think dementia is an old person's disease. We've got people as young as 19 and 17 being affected by Alzheimer's disease or some form of dementia.
Mrs. Phillips Smith is appealing to persons to be mindful of their habits and tendencies, since according to Mrs. Smith, the growing trend of alcohol consumption is one factor which can lead to deteriorating mental condition.
I have to say to young Grenadians, please, the alcohol is nice, the jab is great, the drink is good, but we have to be careful because as time goes on, the alcohol consumption robs our brain. We also have a lot of young people who are consuming alcohol, assuming it's good. The amount of sugar content in alcohol, it starts affecting the pancreas, which causes diabetes, and then before too long, we're descending into a cerebral disease called vascular conditions.
The dementia unit can accommodate up to 11 residents. The care unit is designed with various aids to assist the mobility of the elderly and is equipped with its own kitchenette and living room. Bishop of the Diocese Clyde Martin Harvey, who outlined mental well-being among education and agriculture as the Church's mandate, vowed that in spite of the challenges, the Church will remain faithful to this mission.
Well, in terms of homes for the aged, has been part of the church for a long, long time. James, in his letters talks about widows and orphans as being a special concern of the church. So right from the beginning, the church had this concern for the aged and for children. And that has continued. Now, in every era, that has taken different forms. For us now, in every island in the Caribbean, Grenada not an exception, the church has seen the care of the elderly as a particular thing that we do.
Bishop Harvey thanked Mrs. Phillips Smith and her staff for their commitment.
One of the challenges, and this is where Mrs. Smith is excellent, and she's a blessing for the church here. In the past, you just looked at it and you did it, and you had these homes to the age where you had old people just sitting around, and they're dribbling on themselves, and they're just there, The days for that are finished. And this is what Gloria has brought to the church here, a sense that the aged are to be cared for with absolute respect, but also knowing what you're doing.
According to Bishop Harvey, training is an integral aspect in ensuring that proper service is extended in all human care. The Prime Minister extended his congratulations and best wishes, thanking the church and the home for this initiative. Minister for Social Development and Housing Delma Thomas, Mrs. Carol Vasquez, President of the Grenada Association of Retired Persons, were among the specially invited guests at the opening. Attendees and the media then had the opportunity to tour the facility. 6 residents are currently being housed at the dementia unit. Derek Adonis, Good News, Catholic Communications.
Bishop Clyde Martin Harvey, in his remarks at the official opening of the Dementia Care Unit at the St. Martin's Home for the Aged, acknowledged the generosity of persons who have made donations to outfit the unit and repeated calls for others to be considerate of the work of the church and its undertakings in meeting the needs of the less fortunate.
If the Americans who are giving so much to political campaigns, and maybe the same should be true of Grenada, if you put 10% of whatever you give to a politician, you give it to some charity and to the church, the work that needs to be done would be more easily and better done, But people don't think that way. They think just of what they can get out of it. But we do have the challenge because it's not only now. You start a home like this and you then have to think in terms of keeping it going, sustaining it. And a big question all the time is how do you pay the employees? I mean, Mrs. Phillips Smith is working for much less money than she's worth.
The bishop also acknowledged the work of Clarence Alexis as he undertakes to cultivate food crops for the home.
Feeding people is a big problem. And we have had some really generous people working and helping us to feed the residents here. And this gentleman here, Guate, he might look like just an ordinary fella in a old shirt and thing. But when you look at that kitchen garden there, that's his work. And that kitchen garden is saving us hundreds of dollars every month. So that's the kind of thing that we have to work into the system.
The St. David's branch of the Grenada Diabetic Association is continuing their educational drive aimed at increasing awareness on how residents can manage diabetes. The team reached out to Good News Catholic Communications as one of their new platforms since their usual community meetings are on hold as a result of COVID-19 regulations. Edlin Davis, registered pharmacist and lecturer at the T.A. Marischal Community College, presented on behalf of the group, identifying sugar craving as a major challenge in diabetic management.
The major challenge, especially within the Caribbean setting, is having persons to stick to their diets and the requirement for exercise, because many persons think that it's just the drugs that control their diabetes, when in essence, it takes a combination of lifestyle changes, which would be diet modification and the incorporation of exercise. The other problem we have, I don't know, I think it's because the whole fact that individuals liking sugar is an addiction. They have proven that. And somehow or the other, it seems as if persons who have diabetes, they tend to have that craving. So it's really, really a challenge in order to get them to do what is required.
The pharmacist reminds patients that one-to-one consultation is available at pharmacies and healthcare centers.
I usually tell my students, if you have a person who just coming to you for the first time and you recognize that, you should basically make an appointment with that patient to come in and sit down and go through everything that they need to know, as important as it is, as well as all the medication, for them to understand exactly how the medication works. Because many times if one understands how their medication works, they tend to comply.
Secretary of the St. David Group, Gemma Stewart, explains the work of the group in the parish and the implications of untreated diabetic conditions.
We educate people on diabetes. We let them know the dangers of diabetes, elevated blood sugar. We educate them on the diet, what they should eat, what they should not eat. Because we realize that most people are either in denial or they just couldn't be bothered. So we try to do our best to go into the community and let people know, because they seem not to understand the dangers of diabetes, elevated blood sugar. Number one, it affects the eyes. You could get blindness from untreated diabetes. Another one is the kidneys. You can end up with renal failure, which is very expensive if you have to go on dialysis, or you die. You could also have stroke. You could also have a heart attack, and you could end up with amputation. These are some of the dangers of diabetes.
The group is advocating consistent exercise as an integral part of diabetic management. They are also encouraging residents to touch base with the group should the need arise.
We're family, and you are in a family, and we should try to, help one another as best as possible. And so as for help, we do find that there are people who are going through difficult times, but they don't want to ask their children for assistance because they don't want to, as you said, they don't want to feel like they're a burden. But at a certain point, they're suffering in silence. And then you also have the perception of, your parents have been self-sufficient all your life. And so in your mind, you think that they have their life together when really they need help.
They don't, yeah.
At some point, we need to have a conversation about what help we can do for one another.
Yes.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Carrico and Petite Martinique Affairs, Rolda Kwamina, has recorded the ministry's full support towards the initiative taken to get rid of plastic in all its form from the Sister Isles by the year 2025. Delivering the feature address at the launch of the No to Single-Use Plastic project at the Dumfries, the Permanent Secretary applauded the team of persons for coming forward with a project that would lead to a healthier and safer environment for mankind, animals, and the marine population. Kwamina, who clipped the ribbon to officially launch the project, described it as a brilliant venture and pledged all possible support for the Ministry of Carrico and Petite Martinique Affairs. Speaking under the theme for the opening, The Plastic Problem, the Carrico Solution, Kwamina further encouraged those behind the project to stand firm even at the time the odds may be against them. Public Relations Officer at the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority, Mona Julian, said that a project of this nature fits into their quest to ensure that waste, including plastic, are properly disposed of. She pointed out that this project would now curb several problems with plastic, including entering the blue economy. National Coordinator of the National Global Environmental Facility Small Grants Program, Khadija Edwards, disclosed that from 2015 to current, Jeff Small Grants Program has funded 42 projects amounting to $1.7 million. Approximately $20,000 is earmarked for the No to Single-Use Plastic project. Two Dominican priests on Tuesday celebrated significant milestones on their spiritual journey. The twin celebration of priestly ordination took place at the Battle Hill Shrine in honor of Father Leroy Hopkins and Father Thomas Macaulay. We get details in this dispatch from Derek Adonis.
You Are a Priest Forever was the theme chosen to mark the occasion of 35 years of priestly ordination by Father Leroy Hopkins and 25 years of priestly ordination by Father Thomas Macaulay. The twin celebration of Thanksgiving was in keeping with the Church's observance of the life of St. John Vianney, the patron saint for priests.
Thus says the Lord, Behold, I will restore the fortunes of the tent of Jacob, and have compassion on his dwelling. The city shall be rebuilt upon his mound, and the palace shall stand where it used to be. Out of them shall come songs of thanksgiving.
Chief celebrant Father Leroy Hopkins says it was no easy start on entering the seminary less than 3 months prior to the Grenada Revolution. That era, Father Leroy added, was indeed a challenging time for young seminarians, which saw them deep in thoughts and prayers.
However, my dear brothers and sisters, with all those doubts about the impact of our vocation, faith in God is what I can say sustained me to that point. Faith in God. Sometimes I could be very, you say, not stubborn, but I would do things how I think it's best to do it. And I decided to maintain my path in life and to go through with the preparation for this that I'm celebrating today.
Reverend Hopkins says he is mindful of the prayer support of many parishioners and nationals which sustain them on the journey, including the recently launched Prayer for Priests initiative undertaken by the Charismatic Renewal movement.
I want to thank Dr. Marcia and her group, the prayer group, because over the years, Dr. Marcia and the prayer group started this group, Praying for Priests. And certain persons were delegated to pray for certain priests. I think that I too have somebody praying for me. I don't know who the person is, but I know they're praying for me. And so the most that we can do for the priest today is to pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for your priest. Your priest needs your prayer. And that's a good thing. When Dr. Marcia started it, I've never said it to her before, but I say it now and she would get the message that she and others, it's good. It's a very good idea. Because that's what members of the church should be doing for the priests, praying for them. And we need your prayers.
A very touching moment of the celebration was the renewal of the baptismal vows by the first baby, now an adult, whom Father Leroy Hopkins baptized as an ordained priest.
I do, Jesus, my Lord and Savior, my life is in your hands. I believe in you. I turn to you. I commit myself to grow closer to you, placing myself with you in love, compassion, self-sacrificing love for others.
Bless you and keep you safe from all harm, and may he continue to rule you and govern you all the days of your life. May Almighty God bless you, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Parishioners had the opportunity to share their reflection on Father Leroy Hopkins' journey and his impact on the personal development.
Father is an outstanding pastor among all the other gifts that he has. I've just watched him relate to people over the years, and is responsible for bringing a lot of persons into a deeper relationship with God. I have seen Father go through the villages, interact with the fishermen by the bay. I've seen him go down to Soubise. I've seen him go to Marquis. I've seen him just all over the place, Laborie, you name it. And the impact that he has had on so many persons' lives is incredible. I've heard them talk about the ways in which Father Leroy was there for them in their lives, the ways in which he supported them, the ways in which he drew them closer to Christ. So hence the reason why I'm saying that Father is an excellent pastor.
I'd like to congratulate Father Leroy and Father Thomas on their anniversaries as priests. You know, it's a very blessed thing to know that somebody could make that sacrifice. We wish that we were in the times like in Ireland and so as Africa and so are experiencing, where every family look forward to getting a vocation. Right. So Father Leroy was a bigger acolyte than I was. But that's when I knew Father Leroy first, as an acolyte. And we grew up with the priests. We played around the church. We went up in Mount St. Albans, and we felt very at home. And I think that environment was very conducive for vocation. And so, Father Thomas, it's nice to have you with us too. I know you have your story, and I would like to just be able to have said much more to you, but it's good to have you here in Grenada. When I saw you on TV during the crisis, I said, well, this is a Grenadian, but with a different accent, you know? And I kept thinking, well, I think he's Grenadian, Macaulay, something like close to Grenada, you know? So thanks a lot for being with us, Father Leroy and Father Thomas. I hope God would bless you all abundantly and travel with you on this journey. And may God bless you all always.
Father Leroy, I met when I came back from London to live in Grenada to look after my mother. And he was so welcoming. I started going to Mass and under the celebrating Father Leroy as the priest. And he wanted me to be a catechist. I said, Lord, I just come out in London. I don't know anything about the faith. Father Leroy sent me to learn, to go to workshops. And up till this day, over 30-odd years, I am still teaching catechism.
These men of God, they deserve to be honored. And I really appreciate our priests when they come from afar. It's one thing, because if we're treating Father Leroy bad, Father Leroy just going by his brother or by his mommy or by somebody else, you know, and then you're going to get food. And he has old friends. But when you look at Father Thomas, now if we treat Father Thomas bad, who is Father Thomas going to? You see, our priests are our brothers. Our priests are our fathers. Our priests are our friends. And we must make them feel and know that they are our friends and our brothers, that they are our spiritual fathers. And the only how we can do it is to show them the appreciation and the gratitude by our speech and by our actions.
Vicar General of the Diocese, Father Carl Haynes, expressed best wishes on behalf of the Bishop of the Diocese.
I too would like to extend congratulations to both fathers. Father Thomas, want to congratulate you and welcome you to this diocese, even though we did that before, as someone coming from Sierra Leone to come in and working in this diocese. Oftentimes I refer to him as my parish priest because he was once the parish priest in my home parish. So Father Thomas, you're still my parish priest, right? Okay. And Father Leroy is someone I've known for many years. And my first 2 years as a parish priest, serving in this parish, but was living with Father Leroy in Grenville. And It was 2 wonderful years, my early years in the priesthood, so it's still learning, and many of the things I learned from Father Leroy. We had some good times. We also had some challenging times. But while we were there, I think in the space of 2 or 3 months, there were, I think, 3 or 4 break-ins at the presbytery.
And now for a development in the wide and wonderful world of sports. Cricket Australia said on Tuesday it had agreed with the West Indies Cricket Board to postpone the 2020 series against the Caribbean side scheduled in October. Australia were to host West Indies in 3 warm-up matches in Queensland ahead of the T20 World Cup, which has been postponed by the International Cricket Council because of the COVID-19 pandemic. In light of this development and given the preference to host a warm-up 3-match T20 series against the West Indies to coincide with the rescheduled T20 World Cup in Australia, or it has been agreed to postpone the matches. The Cricket Australia said in a statement, the pandemic has forced much of cricket's global schedule to be cancelled or suspended due to the logistical problems brought by travel restrictions and border controls. Australia postponed the proposed 2-test tour of Bangladesh in June, which was part of the ICC's World Test Championship, and are working on a rescheduled delay tour to England for limited overs matches in September. That's it for all the major developments. A recap of the headlines when we return.
Republic Bank remains committed to providing all its valued customers with high quality and personalized service in a safe and comfortable environment. In order to maintain COVID-19 protocols while serving you, it has become necessary to arrange an appointment with your relationship officer or the customer service representative at your branch for the following products and services: loans, overdrafts, credit cards, new accounts to include savings, checking, certificate of deposit and foreign currency, reactivation of dormant accounts, and private banking for existing customers only. You may also log on to our website, complete the application form for the service required, and submit via email to your specific branch. Requests for appointment can also be emailed to customerservice@republicgrenada.com or via private message on our Facebook page. For private banking service, kindly contact your specific branch via telephone. We look forward to welcoming you.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
And now for a recap of the headlines. Bishop of the Diocese pleads for support for COVID-19 restrictions and warns Grenadians that their decision over the next few days will determine whether they live or die. St. Martin's Home for the Aged outfitted with dementia care unit. Over $20,000 earmarked for no to single plastic use on the Sister Isle. And in sports, Cricket Australia and the West Indies Cricket Board agreed to postpone the T20 series previously scheduled for October. Sunday's Mass will be brought live on all Good News Catholic Communications platforms from the St. Mark's the Evangelist Church at Victoria with Chief Celebrant Father Leroy Hopkin from 8 a.m. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Betty and Lazarus. Thanks for staying with us.